Hey everyone, welcome to the recap video of sleeping in an abandoned prison deep in the wilderness. So, we started off our day driving down this really rural country road, didn't pass a single vehicle on it, and then eventually we hit the end of the road. There is no more pavement, and slowly over the next half an hour or so, the road deteriorates more and more, getting very, very narrow, becoming super duper bumpy. There's a bunch of mud pits. During rainy times, they're completely filled with water, sometimes even 2 feet, but this time it was pretty dried up for the most part, except this one big hole here, which actually had an entire river going through it because the culvert was blocked. Then later on, we came up to some train tracks and the road no longer continued. So, we decided to sleep in the truck for the night, had some canned food, then we got a good night's sleep, then first thing in the morning, we set foot on foot. There was this gigantic ditch we had to climb through that they made with excavators to block off the road and hopefully prevent ATVs from going across the railroad tracks. But we walked on foot, and you can tell there was a lot of ATVs driving down here anyways. They didn't have a problem getting over the railroad track. We walked for quite a bit down this ATV trail. You used to be able to drive here back in the day. This was the road going to the prison, but ever since it became abandoned, they didn't want to maintain that railroad crossing, so the rest of it is done on foot. Parts of the road are very, very flooded out because of beavers blocking culvert pipes, causing the little streams and ponds to just overflow, but with the big high boots on, it was really no issue. And then further down the trail, we came up to, once again, a gigantic ditch created by excavators just to make an inconvenience for the people on ATVs. We were able to just walk through it, and the people on ATVs went around it. Then after about a 60-minute walk, maybe 80-minute walk, we found the prison. Amazing. It's a gigantic 3-story building, and this was one of the most fun camps we ever had done. Massive building. Lots of wildflowers. We saw so many birds, wildlife, abandoned vehicles. Once inside the building, we searched the entire place to make sure we were alone. Then we found our way up onto the roof. Looked around on the roof, found a nice place to set up camp. There's a lot of little trees up there too we were able to tie the tent to, just as a last resort. We also threw a bunch of bricks in the tent for weight. This right here is the boiler room, probably one of the most epic rooms. Huge steam boilers. There was also some flooded parts of the basement. This is actually the sewage treatment plant for the building. And there's our tent up there. Massive building. It was so awesome exploring this place. Walking the halls at all hours of the day. We had some visitors day 1, day 2 camping because we stayed 2 nights. There was nothing. This is me climbing down inside the prison's massive well. Kind of cool. If I fell, that water was over my head. One of the prison cells even still had a bed in it, which was really cool to see. There's the tent again. I'm getting some faraway shots. Grass was super tall. And this right here was one of the kitchen rooms. They had these gigantic rotisserie cookers. I don't know what they would have been cooking in there at that mass scale, but it was super cool to see those huge, huge cookers. There was also probably, I think, 8, maybe 10 walk-in freezers. Lots of pantry space. The kitchen was really cool to look around at. And the stuff was made pretty locally in Toronto. That was about 7 hours away from the prison. And I even found an apple tree. Look at that. Grabbed a whole branch full of apples. Quite delicious. That really helps supplement the little food we brought. We brought enough food, but this helped us be very comfortable eating as much as we want, having the apples there. I even found this rain barrel on the first floor. Brought it all the way upstairs to the roof just so I could peek up on top. Another really good view at a tent. This part of the building, though, was pretty unsafe. You could tell when it rains, a gigantic pond forms here on the roof, and I threw the barrel off just to make sure no kids had an easy way to get up there and possibly fall through the roof. That roof was very soft, compromised, and even down below in the cafeteria ceiling, look at that. No, this was the auditorium ceiling, but still the steel trusses are all bent, twisted. That was a hazard. This was a fun building to go through. There's even pigeons that every now and then would fly away randomly and scare you. Super cool. So right now I'm on my way down to the boiler room, one of the coolest rooms in the building. Look at those big boilers. Awesome. Right now I'm collecting some Gatorade bottles other explorers had left behind, and I crushed this little soup can, and I'm getting diesel fuel out of here. Yeah, they abandoned the place with diesel fuel, and it's actually leaking all over the floor. They just abandoned it. So we took a little bit of diesel fuel out of these massive tanks. I estimate there was probably 6 inches still left in them. They're 10,000 gallon tanks, so that's still equivalent of hundreds of gallons, and you'll see what we do with that fuel later on. This right here is their massive diesel generator. That was also super cool to see, but theft. They took everything they could take away on it. Opening up some soup. We had a lot of sardines. We also had some unpleasant visitors. Look at that. That's what you call a no-see-um. Tiny little bug that bites and it leaves you itching really bad like a mosquito. Every evening, the sunsets were amazing from the prison. It made all the hallways look like they were gold. Beautiful going across the entire field. This field was awesome. Beautiful sunsets every day. Look at that. We had a good line of sight, too, from this prison. We could tell 10, 20 minutes before other explorers showed up, since they had to walk across that big field. Basically the only way in. And I had to get some more apples before the sun completely went down, because they were delicious. I must have ate 2 dozens of these little apples in the time period we were there. Awesome prison. And even though that diesel fuel you saw me taking was 50 years old, it still burned quite well. Remember, diesel fuel, fuel oil, doesn't necessarily go bad. It just becomes less efficient over time, but it'll still burn. And there was even awesome underground steam tunnels for the heating system because it's inefficient going around the building. So it went straight there under the courtyards and stuff. All kinds of elaborate tunnels underground. It was so fun. There was even stockpiles of bricks in the basement in case they needed any extras. Went back up to the roof eventually, made a couple more torches, and we had fun wandering the halls with them. It was a fun time. Every morning, the fields had this rolling fog, which was super cool to time-lapse. And day 2, we even went to this river that was right next to the prison. It was super deep. It goes from nothing to 8 feet deep in a matter of 3 feet. It was super clean, but muddy on the edges, slippery getting back out. And night 2, we had torches once again, which was totally awesome. And I also had this really big flashlight that helped us light up the entire courtyard. This place was fantastic. We even found a bunch of frogs in the basement we captured and brought them outside. And here we go, packing on up. And I hope this video was interesting, everybody. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Make sure to check out the full version of this video. The full version is about 5 hours. This is the longest video I've ever made, hardest video I've ever edited, but it sure was fun. Thanks again for watching. Have a good day.